Hey guys, it's Sammy Warrayat, the host of the Successful Millennials podcast. I appreciate you joining in and listening to another episode geared towards proactive and driven millennials born from 1990 to 1997. For those of you who are first-time listeners, welcome. This podcast is specifically geared towards those people born in 1990 to 1997 and are trying to find motivation as well as improve some tactics of how to achieve success in the 5 major categories. I invite you to listen into the journey as I do deep dives, as well as bring in some emerging experts to discuss these categories and our experiences and how to make progress with them. The reason I picked this specific age range is because I wanted to highlight the rise of social media and smartphones technology coming up in the formative years, rather than as an established adult. Myself being a millennial in that age range, I was in high school when social media really took off, as well as the iPhone, and that changed the way we grew up almost. Whereas generations who were born outside of that age range either was too young and was born into it, or they were already an adult and kind of fully developed. So what are these 5 categories? In no specific orders of importance, it's money, happiness, career/purpose, relationships, and that covers intimate, familial, and social, as well as health, and that's physical and mental health. Guys, I would love it if you can give me a review or DM me on Instagram at FinanceZilla or email me at financezilla@gmail.com. I would love to hear your feedback, as well as topics that you'd like to learn more on or things that I can do better. I am a big fan, as you probably have realized by listening to a few of these episodes, of continuous improvement. So anything that you guys would like to learn more on or things that I could do better on, please let me know. And if you could share it with just one friend who you think that one of these episodes can help them with, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much. Now, let's get to the show. Hey, Andrew, how are you?
Doing great, Sammy. Woo, happy to be here.
Me as well. I know we've had this on the books for a while, but I was out on my vacation and you were out as well, traveling and working from a different area. So how is that?
Oh, it's definitely super awesome being able to travel and work from wherever I want to, work from my computer. So I originally from Oregon and recently moved to New York because a lady convinced me to go out there, funny enough. And I'm actually currently in DC for her Broadway show called Once Upon a One More Time. And we'll be here till January 9th and then seeing where we can go after that. But it's definitely awesome being able to be a virtual entrepreneur.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit about how you found that piece of the journey, because I think a lot of us growing up maybe was like, oh, I don't know if this is possible. And then social media really took off and now you see a lot of people doing it. You're actually living that virtual entrepreneur lifestyle. Is that something that you always wanted to do? Is that something you stumbled upon? Tell us a little bit about how you got there.
Yeah, so I actually was lucky that I grew up in an environment where my father was an entrepreneur. So I knew at a young age that it was possible to not have a limit how much money you make, to not be forced to work a certain number of hours per day, that it's results-driven actions. And so I learned at a young age that was possible. And I always thought, I want that. I want that freedom. I don't want to limit on myself. I just want to be able to do what I want whenever I want. And I actually did entrepreneurship camp in high school. So I was that nerd that went to business camp. And after that, I was actually running the business camp. It was called the Young Entrepreneurs Business Week, when I would go around and speak and give over 1,000 presentations around the state of Oregon to help teach entrepreneurship skills. And then because it was a nonprofit in 2019, I thought, you know what, it's time for me to become a full-time entrepreneur because I don't want to be paid the nonprofit rates anymore. Mm-hmm. And so in October 2019, I essentially left that nonprofit gig and thought, how can I become a full-time entrepreneur and also work virtually so I can have that freedom to travel and work from wherever in the world whenever I want to. And so it was a very difficult journey, Sammy. I mean, making money online is not something that you pick up immediately. Some people, of course, are better at skill than others. Classic analogy is that, even Usain Bolt, one of the fastest people in the world, he had to train for several years just to sprint for 12 seconds. So just recognize that it does take time to get into it. But of course, if you have the right coaches, if you have the right guidance and resources to help you along that way, you can expedite that process and learn it much faster. And what helped me was definitely hiring a coach to teach me that when you get paid, you shouldn't never be paid by the hour. You should be paid by the value that you bring. And that mindset shift really helped me put a great perspective on things. And that guy, AJ Adams, he taught me how to charge $250 per hour, how to charge $2,500 for my coaching services, and actually have the confidence to do that. Because when I first started my coaching journey, I was like, geez, I really hope that they will pay me $100 to coach them for a week. And I would get all nervous. But then I realized that if you can help someone make an extra $10,000 a month, of course you should be paid a minimum $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 to help people reach those goals and bring them that value. So having that perspective shift was definitely essential. And I got into teaching people about public speaking, about sales, about branding themselves, and recently also got into the event space where I work with Chris Krimitsos and Podfest. And we've actually broken a Guinness World Record together for world's largest virtual podcasting events. And we have another one pending at the moment. And we just finished up another event in Tampa, Florida in November at the Amalie Arena called the Florida Bitcoin Blockchain Summit. And that was a huge success as well. So I know that's a super fire hose answer. I'm happy to dive into any of those topics accordingly, but that's essentially the short story long of just wanting to do it at a young age, deciding that making that decision that I'm going to do this, I'm going to learn it, I'm going to do what it takes, I'm going to have the patience, I'm not going to quote unquote try and figure it out on my own, I'm going to hire someone to help me get me there faster. And then just being persistent, being tenacious, and skill stacking accordingly, and being able to go after it and make it happen.
Yeah, and I love that the analogy used of the skill stacking, right? And Usain Bolt has made like millions of dollars per second he's run, but you don't see the hours of training and the years of training it took to get him there. But in terms of skill stacking, which one is the most important, or if you can rank them? There's the confidence that you can charge based on value, right? That's a definite skill, I would say, to change your mindset in order to believe that you can do it. And you have the skills to actually provide that value. Is it the marketing aspect or the branding? Is it the sales or the closing? Or is it something else that's maybe not described there?
What people don't realize is if you can't sell something, you're out of business. And so I definitely believe that finding something that people are willing to buy in the first place, and then B, getting them to actually buy it are so crucial to any business. I mean, it goes back to Wolf of Wall Street, sell me this pen. But I hope that you're selling to people who actually need that pen. Like if you're trying to sell a pen to someone who works at a factory and it's the exact same pen that they already have unlimited free access to, and there's no incentive for them to buy that extra pen, find someone else who actually needs that pen and be able to go from there. So that's really how to get into any business is find an issue or a problem that people are having, figure out how you can provide that solution, and then figure out how to talk to people and then sell that solution. And that's really the basis of any business, especially coaching, is meet people, tell them what you do, set up a call, collect money, give them value, rinse and repeat, essentially, and just being able to go from there.
Yeah. And I do think that the challenge with sales is first, it's a confidence thing that you're trying to pressure somebody, or you're trying to see if they actually need the value, or if they say no, how do you kind of counteract that? Is that a true no? Is that just that they really don't want it right now? Is it that they don't see the value that your product is really providing? How do you differentiate between those different no's in order to really see, is this an actual candidate that can receive value from what I'm offering?
Yeah, so we could really have a full 5-hour podcast about sales for sure. A lot goes into it. And so I'll start from a very meta foundational level, like make sure that you're selling something that provides value to someone and that they're willing to pay for it. And so a classic example is, let's say someone is in the desert and they've been traveling for miles and they're exhausted and they're dehydrated, and you have a nice cold cup of water. And you're like, hey, sir, I noticed you have an extra. And at that moment, too, like money doesn't matter to them because they're like, yeah, I'd rather be alive than not. And so I don't care if there's $50 in my pocket or $500 in my pocket. I want that glass of water. So you do want to make sure that whatever you're selling to someone, it brings them so much value to them that they go, wow, thank you so much. And really make sure that, and there's different ways to do market research and market testing in the first place, because obviously nowadays people are probably not in the middle of a quote unquote desert and needing that cold glass of water. So the top mistake that people make is from that freaking movie where, oh, if you build it, they will come. People are like, oh, well, I think if I just put a product or an event out there, then people are going to show up in droves because I think so, versus actually asking them before actually doing research, before getting pre-sales, before doing surveys, like making sure you do that market research ahead of time to make sure people actually see the value in your product, are willing to invest in it, and willing to pay for it. So that's the first step, really, is having that validation of market research. And then when it comes to the actual sales calls, so I mean, once again, so they say you should be able to close a sale without having to get on the phone for anything less than $1,000. So doing like email closes, doing message closes. But if you want them to spend more than $1,000, that's usually when you want to get in a call with them to help them see the value and help them overcome any objections that you have. And obviously, there's a million objections for why someone would say no to something. And what you want to do is kind of get to the core of what's the real issue. And one of my favorite questions that I learned from another sales expert, I think he's called Johnny Hates Marketing, is he says, other than price, is there anything else you're concerned about the program? And when you ask that question, it really helps clarify things, because they might say, oh, I actually don't like this aspect, or actually I was curious about this aspect. Because if price is truly the only thing holding people back from being able to invest in you, you can figure something out. You can say, okay, we can do a payment plan, or, oh, okay, well, let's help you brainstorm some ways to raise the funds, or, okay, you can set up a loan program kind of thing. Because price is one of the easiest thing to overcome if everything else is perfect for them, essentially. And as far as when people say, I love this, that when people say, oh, I'll think about it, that usually means one of three things. A, they don't trust you to deliver the product or service to them. B, they don't trust themselves to actually follow through with it. Or C, I forget the third excuse at the moment, but just going back to when they say they'll think about it, you want to get to the core of what that means, like what's truly holding them back. Because the answer is what's gotten them to where they are isn't going to get them to where they want to go. And you want to be that gap, that middleman to say, hey, here's where you are, here's where you want to be, let's get you to where you want to be, and I can be that solution for you.
Yeah, and I love that answer, because it is all about trust when you're trying to have people part with their hard-earned money, and will it provide the value that you're saying it will, or that they will be able to do based on the work that they'll have to put into it. And events is another tough one, because it's going to be under that $1,000 some of the time, especially the intro events. And you're really going to do this over email. You're going to do it via a targeted ad, and you're not really going to have the contact with the organizer. You're depending mostly on speakers that may be presenting, so you don't really have that touch. Or how do you, and it's going to be like months in advance, for example, as well. There's a lot of hurdles that can go into buying a ticket, deciding to buy a ticket, and then actually joining the conference at the day of the conference. And I love conferences, so when I buy a ticket, I'm going. But I know that's not the case for a lot of people, to take 2-3 days off of work and actually go to a conference, maybe even in a different city. So what kind of tactics did you use to build some Guinness World Record breaking events in different industries?
Yes, that's a great question. So back in 2020, so yeah, Podfest, the company that I work with, Chris Krimitsos, he's actually done over 2,000 events over the past 10 years. And so he's worked his butt off building a community, building that trusting aspect that if you come to my event, you're going to learn a lot, you're going to make great relationships, and you're going to have a great time. So, and he's spent 10 years building that community. And in March 2020, he was able to have over 2,000 people attend an in-person live event. And then in 2020, what happened. And so it took a lot of different skill sets to essentially break that Guinness World Record. So, hey, he had that huge foundation of thousands of people who are already to attend his events in the first place, who he's worked on cultivating and building over several years. And then B, we knew that in August 2020, people would still be stuck at home. They wanted to connect with people. They'd have The virtual event space was still about brand new because people still hadn't heard about it yet. And so we knew that this would be one of the most unique times that go big or go home, essentially. And so we had a bunch of Facebook ads go out. We had encouraged other people to, we had everyone who signed up for the event, we then made them a custom attendee card to share on social media saying how excited they are to attend. We had a free pre-week that people could attend for people to break the Guinness record, have people attend for free. But of course, the event was also sponsored by other ticket sales, and sponsors were a huge source of the financing for the event. We also had speakers, encourage them to promote the event. We partnered with other podcasting organizations because the event was called PodFest Global, and had them email it out to their email lists. And I would say for the event space, going back to the top mistake people make is they think, oh, just because I plan an event, people are going to show up. Not quite. Mm-hmm. You really, the numbers that you have, or the goal number of people that you want to bring in, you're going to have to reach out to at least 10 times that many people who would be a good fit to attend the event. So let's say our Guinness World Record, well, the other thing too about Guinness is, those who don't know, in case you want new entrepreneurship ideas, Guinness is a business. And so they'll charge you for those certificates in order to be a Guinness World Record holder. So yeah, you could break any record out there, but until you actually pay Guinness to break that record, you don't get certified. And so that part was interesting. And so when we were talking about setting the record, they're like, okay, you need 5,000 people to attend this event in order to set this world record. And it was a record that had never been set before. So they had to come up with these rules to set it. And when it was all said and done, we got 5,003 people.
Nice.
So it was very clutch for sure. And it definitely took a lot of efforts and a lot of community help for sure. Everyone inviting their friends, family, neighbors, cousins. Like I know I had invited my whole family too, saying, please register. It would mean a lot to me, kind of thing. And so it does take a lot of work. And so in order for us to bring 5,000 people, we definitely had to get in front of a minimum 50,000 eyeballs by partnering with people at email lists of 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 people to talk about our event. And so that's what I'd say for people who want to get into the event space is A, make sure you find some sponsors to help finance the event. B, recognize that ticket sales can be helpful, but won't be the main driving source of income for the most part. I mean, obviously depends on your certain strategies. You could also have after event sales that comes from the event too. And really it's just a matter of understanding it's going to take 10x the effort and work in order to achieve the goals that you set for yourself.
Now a quick word for today's show's sponsor. I'm normally not a fan of nice clothes. I like comfort over style, especially because I like being active often. Habits 365 is a brand that does both. The reason I'm excited to partner with them is because their vision is in line with this podcast. Their whole message is to preach consistent improvement by creating and maintaining continuous habits 365 days a year. That sounds exactly like what I like to preach, 1% better every day. It also helps that they promote positivity around important topics like mental health and wellness, which is one of the 5 categories, as well as social justice and much more. The fact that they employ mostly millennials and are run by 2 people who are in their 20s, like myself, is an added bonus. If you're interested in supporting the show as well as getting some apparel, feel free to enjoy the code FINANCEZILLA for 15% off online purchases by using the link in the show notes. That's FINANCEZILLA for 15% off online purchases. Guys, water is super important for maintaining physical health, one of the 5 categories of the Successful Millennials podcast. Doctors always recommend at least 8 cups a day, and for every cup of coffee or tea, you should probably add another cup of water. Throw in things like pre-workout, creatine, and the fact that everybody just has different hydration needs based on, their body weight and gender, physical activity, etc. You should probably drink well over that 8 cups of water. Me personally, I drink like a gallon and a half a day. I just love water. I drink it with every meal. I drink it when I work out. I don't drink juices or anything else. That's why I'm excited to partner with the Coldest Water. They make water bottles that can preserve cold water and ice that won't even melt for 36 plus hours. Especially in the summertime heat like now, these bottles that come in different sizes are a great way to keep your water cold when running errands, hiking, or just so that you don't have to keep going to the fridge every now and then. Enjoy a personal code for 10% off our online purchases by going to the link in the bio and using the code FINANCEZILLA. That's FINANCEZILLA for 10% off online purchases. Now back to the show. Yeah, and a lot of people view events as a loss leader, similar to books, where now you could say that you've hosted a Guinness World Record breaking event in the podcast space, right, or in the podcast space. So that's something that you can add to build the credibility, but you may have not made a lot of money on that particular event. So how do you counteract that and still make it profitable while not only just being a loss leader?
Yeah, so creating profitable events is definitely a very important skill set that you want to have. And I would say, make sure you have a budget ahead of time ready to go, because that was a mistake I made when I did my own virtual event in May 2020, is I didn't budget that well and didn't do profit budget calculations. So please have a budget. Understand too that if it's your first event, you might not get that many people. So Chris, for his first event, he literally had 13 people in 2013. And now it's easy to say, oh, it's an overnight success with 5,000 people. No, it took him 10 years to figure out all the skill sets of planning events, making them profitable, and making a living out of it. And so have a great offer on the back at the end of your event too. So let's say you want to do an event for podcasters and you want to get them into your podcasting training program. So the event itself might be $50 or $100 or something, but your training program is $1,000 or $1,500. And so kind of estimate, okay, if I can get at least 50 people to show up to the event, I should be able to convert at least 5 to 10 of those people, and then being able to be profitable that way. And then, of course, being profitable with reaching out to sponsors for who would sponsor the event. So if you're running a podcasting event, for example, you want to get sponsors who do microphones, who do sound equipment, maybe Squadcast or Zencaster or Riverside want to sponsor you. And just kind of start reaching out and figure out who the right contacts are at those places, and just really doing the math and making sure you don't go over budget, and then plan to be profitable however you can.
Yeah, I like that. And there's different ways you can be, whether it be selling something at the end or having the sponsors kind of carry. I was at a recent conference where Celsius sponsored it, and everybody got, free Celsius, as well as, the ticket prices helped fund the rest of it. So it was very good for the event organizer and FinTwit, but it was also really knowledgeable, and we learned a lot of value as attendees. So there's ways to make it happen, as long as you kind of, like you said, write it down, have a budget, and continue to progress through that via some strong discipline. And similar to SMART goals, like we talked about in episode 1, and I feel like everybody needs to know what the SMART goals are, but writing it down is a common theme for entrepreneurs. Write something down, stick to it. Something along those lines, people fail, whether it be the New Year's resolutions where they write it down and they don't follow through. Some people never write things down and they try to follow through, but then they forget. Where would you say, when you're coaching people, how to stay on track and build that discipline in order to, whether it be achieving 10K a month in revenue, whether that be following through on your plans at the gym, whether that be following through and starting something you always wanted to, but that follow through mentality and that discipline needed via writing stuff down, how would you train them up on that?
So what works for me that actually has a 100% success rate with my clients is incorporating accountability with my coaching. And the way I incorporate it is I have them pick a monetary number that matters to them. So some people that might be $500, some of the people that might be $5,000, something that would scare them, and say, I'm going to hold this money and I'm only going to give it back to you once you do your actions that you agree will be beneficial to you reaching your goals, essentially. Because people for the most part know what it takes to be successful, what it takes to lose weight, knows what it takes to get to where they want to go, but they let all these other excuses and obstacles get in their way. Like, oh, I wanted to go to the gym today, but it was 2 degrees colder than I thought it was, so I guess I'm not going to go. Like, oh, I was going to make those 10 phone calls today of possible clients that could pay me, but I didn't drink enough water, and I better hydrate instead or go for a walk instead, kind of thing. But if you wake up each day going, crap, like if I don't take these actions that I said I'm going to do anyway, I'm going to lose $500, and there should be no reason why I shouldn't be taking those actions anyway, kind of thing. So that's what I do with my clients, is I incorporate accountability, and that's what brings guaranteed success, because there's so many stats out there about people joining programs and getting coaching, but then not actually taking action on it. And it's because they don't have the extra skin in the game of the psychological process, making sure that they're getting exactly what they need essentially. So I use accountability. I also customize my coaching programs for them because some people like just give me the information and then I'm going to go do it. Some people are like, can we meet every other day or can we meet twice a week to make sure I'm doing things correctly and get my hand hold? And I'm like, yeah. So each client, I give them a customized program, work with them one-on-one. I'm not doing group coaching yet, but I'll probably be getting into that here pretty soon. And essentially that's how I stand out, is just incorporating accountability, customizing programs for people, helping them see options for their business, for their brand, on how to get to those 10K months. And then, of course, showing them they can do it 10 times faster than they think was originally possible.
Yeah, I agree. I think the free newsletters, the free information on social media, there's so much out there that you get kind of either a fire hose, you're drinking from a fire hose, or it's just like, okay, how are you going to separate yourself? I don't know what to take action on first because there's so much things out there. But dedicating down, okay, what am I going to try to improve on first? That's kind of what I teach my clients when I'm doing my financial coaching, is the same thing. What are your top 3 goals? What do you want to do with your money? And then that's the only thing that matters. Everything else we'll figure out later, but you have to really be conscious on why you're doing it, write it down, and then just keep looking at it and be like, this is every time I spend something outside of the goal, I'm taking away from that goal. So it's similar to you in terms of you're holding them accountable. I really like that idea because it is something that is psychological when you have skin in the game more than you would like to lose. It's a good way to put it.
Exactly. And something I've learned too, and, being in the coaching industry, it can be tough to look at price tags of investing in yourself. And well, so if your money's in your savings account, you're actually losing a lot of money right now, especially it's 2021. Inflation is going through the roof. It's not, if you're not making lots of money, you're falling behind very quickly, and keeping your money in savings is definitely not going to cut it. But for me, the way I look at it is if you spend $100,000 learning how to make $100,000 a year, isn't that worth it? And to me, the answer is yes, because you only need that 1 year to make your money back, but then you can continue to earn that $100,000 year after year after year, and eventually 10 or 100x your income, and just really get to that point that you want to be at. And obviously people have different financial goals. Some people want to make 100,000, some people want to make 100 million, some people want to make 100 billion. And so you really do want to talk to the right people who can help you get there, believe in you, and understand too about what the thing about the coaching industry too is, I like to use the example of, I love basketball, I love NBA, and Greg Popovich. Nice. Yeah, the Spurs. Yeah, so he created a dynasty out in San Antonio where they won several championships over a few years. And Greg Popovich, he's this older guy. Like, he's not going to be able to dunk a basketball or hit a 3-pointer or cross someone over, but he knows how to coach someone to be able to win an NBA championship and be one of the best basketball teams in the world. So that's the thing, is making sure when you pick out a coach that they have proof of bringing results to clients, that they see you for where you want to go, and you feel that alignment with wanting to work with them, and understanding that just because, quote unquote, they might not be making $100,000 per year, in my opinion, well, hopefully they're making $100,000 per year as a successful coach. So I want every coach out there to be successful. But if they know how to help others get to that point, that's the most important thing, and making sure you have that alignment and confidence and belief they can actually help you get there.
Yeah, I love that, because confidence is one of the most important things to get started. And Popovich I'm a Spurs fan, so I love that you use that reference.
Yeah.
But speaking of coaching, speaking of things that you can learn from, I like to ask every guest to share some of the books, some of the other podcasts, some of the maybe YouTube videos, anything that they've learned along the way that the audience can also kind of dive into and learn some from as well.
Yeah, so I'd say I love reading. I love learning. Some of the top books I recommend that I wish everyone in the world would read is The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. And one of the things he talks about in the book is that if you're going to think, you might as well think big, because it takes the same amount of brain power to figure out how to make $100 as it does how to make $1,000. So think big for yourself. Allow our brains are natural problem solving machines. Just give it the right problem to solve and it'll come up with solutions, or at least help you find the right person who can give you that solution. Also check out, I wish people read the book Grit by Angela Duckworth.
Love it.
Yeah, if I had read that book in high school, that would have been such a game changer for me, because I wanted to do so many things, but I didn't have the confidence in myself to give myself that space to know that I could learn it with enough time and dedication and effort, and that our brains, it's called neuroplasticity, that just like when you first get in a car to drive it, you're like, I don't know where the gas pedal is. I don't know where the brake is. I don't know where all these buttons are. And now when you're driving, you're able to have a burger in one hand, a drink in one hand, and then move the shifting stick with your elbow. So just recognize the importance of neuroplasticity. And then, early in my life too, I was struggling with my own confidence and personal development. And what helped me wake me up per se was the book "Awaken the Giant Within" by Tony Robbins. Definitely love that book. That kind of gets you on fire and get you passionate about life. So I'll stick with those 3 books for now: is Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz, Grit by Angela Duckworth, and Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins is a great starting points.
Yeah, I definitely need to add Magic of Thinking Big to my list. I've read the other 2. They're awesome books. So I'll definitely have those 3 in the show notes. But for people who are curious about following you and learning more about you and your coaching, Andrew, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm on social media on the 4 platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. That's the one. So you can follow me, the Andrew J. Weiss. So whatever platform works best for you. I do check all my messages. So definitely send me a DM. I'm happy to do a phone call and see how I can serve you and help you out. And then my website is weisswisdom.com. And you can also find me there. So I'm happy to help out.
Awesome. You're going to have to get used to calling the social media platform Meta now, though. But I'll have all those links in there for sure. And Andrew, I appreciate the time. I learned a lot, and I hope people reach out.
Sounds good. Thanks for hosting.
That concludes another episode of the Successful Millennials podcast. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode and which tip or trick you picked up on that you'll implement after listening to today's episode. Please don't forget to leave a like or subscribe on whichever podcast streaming platform you're listening to right now. Obviously, we're on all of them. And let me know what topics you'd like to learn more on or ask a guest on. And my email is going to be in the show notes. It's financezilla@gmail.com. That's the best way to reach out to me. If you have Instagram and you prefer to reach out there, I'm also quite active and I'll respond to DMs. It is @financezilla. Again, both of those will be in the show notes. Now, if you're wondering on how I got to where I'm at, where I was able to retire from corporate and kind of do this as well as invest and trade in the stock market, and you would like to learn more, kind of take control of your finances and therefore take control of your life and being able to do what you want to do, being financially independent, reach out to me via either of those ways and ask for that 30-minute free strategy consultation session. The link again will be in the show notes for that, and we can talk about how to live the life you want to live and make money doing it, as well as be comfortable and happy. That's, I think, the goal of everything. That's the reason why I started this podcast and why I do this consulting business. So reach out, let me know if I can help, and apply via the link in the show notes. Until then, talk to you guys next week.